that have a little bit of a problem, but we can hide the problem. Now, you're hiding the problem. It's a Band-Aid. It's not a fix. You're cheating, right? And hoping that the clients don't notice. Well, our client noticed, right? All right, hey guys, Jerry from Showtime Audio. So we're working on Justin's gorgeous C8. This thing is sick. It's a Stingray, black and white, just amazing, amazing car. Check out the interior with the red stitching and then all the perforations. I mean, look at this. It's just an unreal car. So the car has a Bose system in it, which is, it's a Bose system. Not my favorite, right? But it is their premium audio. It does sound pretty good, right? For a stock system, but the bass is definitely lacking. And so right now we're checking for signal and just want to show you. So this is the subwoofers, which are they're actually in the doors themselves. Now the thing is, if you can see, the bass has this weird dip here. Now this dip is right around 40-ish hertz. Now the thing with that is 40 hertz is typically like a bass note that we like that's actually found in a lot of music. And the more you turn it up, the louder you turn it up, the more that frequency attenuates, right? So that frequency gets lower. The frequencies around it still come up, which is new. Bose, typically what they do is all the bass, they taper off the bass as you turn the volume up, all of it. But in this particular case, they're picking a frequency and tapering that frequency. So it must be a limitation of the drivers. So typically the reason they do that is rather than use better speakers, they can use cheaper speakers that have a little bit of a problem, but we can hide the problem. Now, you're hiding the problem. It's a Band-Aid. It's not a fix. You're cheating, right? And hoping that the clients don't notice. Well, our client noticed, right? And he wants bass. He wants those frequencies back. Because again, it's in a lot or most of the music you listen to. So you definitely want that. So we're gonna put in a Footwell sub. There's not a ton of space in this car. I mean, there's actually very, very little space. So we're gonna go with a Footwell sub and we'll show you that. We're working on that as we speak. All right, so we're going back to peanuts, right? So we're using our peanut trick again. But we did it a little backwards this time. So this time what we did is, we know we need 0.65 cubic feet of airspace. This box is 12 by 12 by, I don't know, probably 12. So it's like a 1 cubic foot box. Right, Dama? Mm-hmm. All right. So what I did is I measured so that I could get 0.65 cubic feet, and then with a tape measure, and then I filled it to that line. So now, if you've seen our other enclosures, like on the Sierra EV, we don't like to glass in the car if we can avoid it. If we can't avoid it, then we have to, especially in a brand new car. So what we did is our same trick. We built the entire cavity out of 1/8 inch MDF, so we would have a rigid structure that we could remove out of the vehicle. And then I overbuilt it. So in other words, I built it way longer than it needed to be because I know I'm gonna trim it down, but I want it to be too big rather than be short. So then what I do is I took it and I filled, I know it's 0.65 cubic feet, dumped it in here, and then obviously smoothed it all out. And as you can see, it's overbuilt. So now I've marked, this is the slope that I want it to take. So I've marked it, and what we'll end up doing is we're gonna glass it, and then we're gonna trim it so that it's that shape. And now we know we have 0.65 cubic feet of airspace. So then when we put in our driver, we know that it's gonna perform because we have the correct airspace. The nice thing is this enclosure will just pop in and pop out just, you know, with our PowerWorks connectors. So if you ever need that extra Footwell space, you can literally remove the enclosure and you're good to go. All right. So this is the factory Bose amplifier. So as you can see, we have our RTA hooked up, and So what we're doing is we're checking for signal, right? So we're not only are we checking for signal, we're checking for clipping, and we're also checking for any attenuation or any manipulation of the signal, because Bose is notorious for DSP and processing the signal in order to make not so good speakers sound okay, right? It's a way for them to use cheaper speakers and still get a pretty good result. That's the power of a DSP, a digital signal processor, right? Is you're literally able to tailor the sound and make not so good speakers sound good. But this is why adding a good amplifier with a good DSP makes such a big difference, because we're able to add more power using the existing speakers, or ideally swapping all the speakers and the DSP, because then you get the best of both worlds. Now you have speakers that can actually perform, and then you can use the DSP to drive them to the limit, right? You can get the most out of them. So just wanted to show you, to say it's intricate is a little bit. Now we're trying to squeeze a 10 in there, and we want it flush so that we can get as much footwell space as possible, but we still want some output. So what we ended up doing is we paneled it off, fiberglassed it, and now we're building the face with a countersink for the sub itself. So this piece will get, right now I'm gonna bond it, fiberglass it. I'll fiberglass these voids, and then fiberglass the whole thing as one unit. And then later on, we'll show you installed in the vehicle itself. So right now we're just gonna bond it, and then we'll put it in the car, and we'll show you that a little bit later. So finishing up Justin's C8 Corvette project. So we're adding a 10-inch subwoofer in the footwell. If you've seen our other videos, we've done it in a C7. This is now the newer C8. The client wanted more bass, so we ended up going with a 10. You give up a little bit more footwell space, but there's nowhere else in this vehicle to put a sub that works well. Again, you give up a little bit of footwell space, but I got one of my guys in here, he's 6 foot tall, no problem. And just wanted to show you, so that's the enclosure. And then this is the grill itself, right? So it's got an aluminum mesh on the front. The woofer also has a grill, so it's kind of an overkill, but this is more so that the panel itself doesn't collapse when you put your feet on it. And we just, as you can see, it does take up a little bit of footwell space, but you're still, pop this back in. And I mean, it's very difficult to tell that the car has anything, but it sounds amazing. It adds a huge amount of bass, especially in such a small space. One of the other big problems is obviously it's convertible, right? Drop the top, it's very difficult. But by it being in the footwell, it loads really well when the doors are closed, and it gives you a ton of bass for the amount of space that we're actually taking up. As far as the bass knob goes, we ended up doing it right here, right on the column. So again, it just makes it super easy. You know, right on the fly, you can adjust the subwoofer. The other difficult challenge of this car was where to put the amplifier. The guys actually put it under the factory footwell plate. So other than the bass knob and the subwoofer enclosure, the nice thing about the subwoofer enclosure is you can literally pull it out in one of our PowerWorks connectors and remove it. So if you needed the extra footwell space, or you had a really tall person in here, you can remove it. You won't have any bass, but obviously it's still functional, and it still keeps it so that the client can use the car the way they want. But if they're traveling alone, or if the person's not so tall, there's no problem with it using the footwell sub.
Visit our website at showtimeaudiochicago.com.